So I hope you don't need to speak together. I hope my voice will somehow last. Today I would like to talk a little bit about the importance of Srila Prabhupada's books. The two things are most important related to this International Society for Krishna Consciousness. One is the chanting of the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, and the second, our philosophy, the philosophy of Krishna consciousness. Because this Krishna consciousness is not a matter of a sentiment, a religious sentiment. It is based on sound philosophy, being handed over or handed down since time immemorial. Through what is called a disciplic succession, or Guru Parampara, beginning from Lord Krishna himself. He instructed Arjuna in the message of Bhagavad Gita, which forms the basis of this Krishna conscious philosophy. And I would like to make the point that Srila Prabhupada's books are factually meant for every person on this planet, despite one's own individual religious faith, social background, or whatever, gender. It is meant for everyone. It's a universal philosophy. It's a spiritual science. Just like a mundane science, mathematics, we don't think in terms of German mathematics, Indian mathematics. It's a science. It's meant for everyone. So I came up with the 10 reasons why Srila Prabhupada's books are so important for everyone. First, Srila Prabhupada's books reveal the truth about the temporary material existence. People, of course, they have individual interests in their own life. There's a vast variety of fields of knowledge which occupied everyone's mind and intellect. And it deals with so many different mundane subject matters. Subject matters of knowledge, departments of knowledge. This is why people go to the school, high school, university, to study all these various departments of knowledge. Human evolution begins when the living entity begins to inquire into the absolute truth. Absolute means there's no further cause. The cause of all causes. Absolute also means eternal. It's not a definition of absolute. It is eternal. So since the living entity, as we learn from the Bhagavad Gita, again, it is a spiritual science, the soul is eternal. There's no beginning of the soul, there's no end. Najayati miyate vakatacham. This birth, death only refers to the physical body. takes birth, and of course it has to die at one point. Meanwhile, we take nicely care of our body. That's important. Because it is also a tool, a vehicle to develop, cultivate our spiritual life, our spiritual consciousness, eternal consciousness. So since every living entity on this planet is a spirit soul temporarily occupying the physical body, and if the body comes to an end, then it transmigrates into another body, another body. It's called samsara, cycle of birth and death. So every living entity, not only human beings, the birds, as soon as you perceive the symptoms of life, the 6 symptoms of life, when these symptoms are present, then you can conclude that's the presence of the soul. So every living being on this planet is originally a spirit soul, eternal spirit soul. This is why Srila Prabhupada's books, because it reveals that particular knowledge, the knowledge of the soul. Therefore, it is meant for every person on this planet. Srila Prabhupada's books. Everyone can benefit. Second, Srila Prabhupada's books contain the most detailed knowledge of the material creation and the cosmic manifestation. Even ordinary people at one point in their lives, they begin to wonder about this universe. At night, when we look into the sky, we see so many stars, galaxies, so many planets. How vast is our universe? What do we really know about our universe? NASA has its own claims, but even they admit that most part of our universe we don't know. We're not even at the beginning of discovering it. Now they begin to speculate about what is possibly beyond this universe. Good luck. It will take you lifetimes, many, many lifetimes to even begin to figure out what's beyond this universe. But in Srila Prabhupada's books, we have detailed knowledge, not only about this particular universe we are presently existing in, but about all the universes, the innumerable universes. Some of them are quite large. Our particular universe is supposed to be quite small. It is considered to be a small universe. It only contains 14 planetary systems, which are described very in details in Srila Prabhupada's books. What are the upper planetary systems? What are those planets? What goes on those planets? It is all described in detail. Middle planetary system, Bhumandala, is described in detail. The lower planetary systems, what is happening there, is described in detail. And then there's so many bigger universes. They contain twice as many planetary systems. Some of them 100 times more planetary systems. Some of them 1 million times more planetary systems. So with our scientific-minded brain, we will never be able to find out that knowledge, that detailed knowledge. What goes on in all the other universes? How do they came into existence? Etc., etc. How long will they continue to exist? Everything is described in detail in Srila Prabhupada's books. Therefore, these books are meant for everyone. Everyone can benefit. Then the third point. Srila Prabhupada's books precisely explain the three modes of material nature, by which everyone is bound and conditioned in a particular way. See, that knowledge of the modes of material nature, the gunas, and we don't learn, it is not existing in our educational faculties. It doesn't exist. You don't learn in school, high school, what are these gunas, modes of material nature. You don't know. But yet it is so important, because every individual human being on this planet is being conditioned by these modes. Although most people tend to think I'm free. I remember the 60s, there was one song, I'm free, from the Rolling Stones. I'm free, I do what I want at any time. Ding, 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 ding. But nobody is free. Everybody is conditioned by these modes of material nature. According to the influence of sattva guna, you are forced to act and think in a particular way. And if someone is influenced by the mode of passion, rajas, in Sanskrit language, rajas, rajaguna, then you are being forced to act in a particular way, to think in a particular way, to choose your association in a particular way. You're being forced. And then we have the mode of ignorance, tamaguna, mode of darkness, to being forced to act in a particular way, choose your association in a particular way. Your desires are being influenced by these modes of material nature. Nobody is free. And these modes of material nature, they cause our suffering and our enjoyment. Why do good things happen sometimes to bad people? Why do bad things sometimes happen to good people? It's a big question. Because of the law of karma, these modes of nature, we are being forced to act in a particular way. And then we are reaping the result. The laws of nature are so stringent, they're so scientific. For every action is an equal and opposite reaction. So Srila Prabhupada's books, they explain in detail what are these modes of material nature. Not only how we are being influenced by these modes, but also how can we become free from the influence of the modes of nature, so that eventually and finally all our unnecessary sufferings stop, come to an end, and we approach gradually and surely our eternal and happy spiritual existence. The fourth reason why Srila Prabhupada's books are meant for every person on this planet. Srila Prabhupada's books inform people about the detailed laws of karmic reactions. The cause, I explained before, the cause of suffering and joy. Karma. I think that's nowadays in more modern society, it's a widespread term. Is it not? Karma. Karma-free food, etc. Hare Krishna.
Anteeksi, voitteko vaikka mennä tuossa, kun tässä häiriintyy nyt tätä?
No problem. They're also spirit souls. What was my point? The karma. That term, concept of karma, it is already well known in society. If I do something bad to someone, then something will happen bad to me. It's the law of karma. If I do something good will happen to me. If I do something bad will happen to me. Very, very simple principle. But what people do not know is that even from our previous existence, previous life existence, there are some karmic reactions that people don't know. And this is why they're surprised, sometimes surprised. No, I didn't do anything bad. Why does something bad happen to me or to others? Why? Of course, that should not explain that everything is karma. And whatever is happening to someone, anyway, that's your karma. Sometimes you find this artificial kind of a karmic thinking, especially in India. If something is happening bad to someone, well, this is karma. Not everything is karma. The human beings, they have a freedom of choice. They can create new karma, either good or bad. It's not that everything is karma. Like in the in the ancient Vedic society, there were these kshatriyas, the warriors. They were supposed to protect people. If somebody wants to do something bad to someone which is not justified, then the kshatriyas come in, they protect and punish the culprits. So there, the activities of the kshatriyas would be meaningless if everything is karma. Why do you try to protect someone? This is karma. Someone is destined to suffer. Life is not that simple. So not everything is karma, but many things are karma. Destiny is another related term of karma. Destiny. Someone is destined to either suffer or enjoy. You cannot change it. Doesn't matter what you try. Why is not everybody rich? Some are destined, some are not. Even if you try, someone might try very, very hard. Year after year, I want to be like that. It doesn't happen. Then at one point you might safely conclude it is not my karma. My karma might be to live more simple, to be more humble, more tolerant, etc. But some people are destined to enjoy life in this way, become very wealthy, very rich. But of course, that's not the ultimate solution of life, because that will change also. Today we might be a king, tomorrow we might be a beggar. There's nothing steady in this material existence. Everything is changing constantly, like the seasons of the year. Summer, and there must be again winter. If there's winter, then there must be spring. If there's spring, then there must be summer, constantly changing. So Srila Prabhupada's books, they describe in detail the laws of karma. How do they work? How do they function? How do they influence the people? There's also mass karma that also happens. Many people at once, they have to reap the results of previous activities. It is very complex. Krishna even admits in the Bhagavad Gita to Arjuna the perplexity or the law of action and reaction are very perplexed, not easy to understand, complicated. So everyone will benefit from Srila Prabhupada's books, learning in detail about the law of karma. It is very helpful. Otherwise, we have to remain in ignorance and darkness. So why is this happening to me? Why is this happening to someone else? Why? All these questions. Why? And no answer. No ultimate answer. And the fifth reason, Srila Prabhupada's books remind everyone that there's a higher spiritual purpose in life. So important. Otherwise, we tend to think the purpose of life is to make money, live nicely, and then what? They say in English, and then drop into the bucket. That's the whole purpose of life. You work so hard to accomplish things, and then you die, and that's it? No, there must be more. There must be more to life than just working hard and then dying. Yes, something more, that something more is, there's a higher spiritual purpose in life. Beginning with understanding I'm not this body. I'm the eternal spirit soul, full of bliss, full of knowledge. Na sato vitate bhavo Bhagavad Gita. Na bhavo vitate sattaha uvayo api drishtuantas tvanayos tatpada shivi. The meaning of this verse is, those who are seers of the truth have concluded that of the non-existent material body, there's no endurance, and of the eternal, the soul, there's no change. This they have concluded by studying the nature of both. So much information is given in Srila Prabhupada's books about that higher spiritual purpose of life. Then sixth, Srila Prabhupada's books provide the knowledge of everyone's eternal constitutional identity. So it is not sufficient to just know I'm the eternal soul. But what's the precise identity of the soul? How does the soul look like? The soul is not a ghost. I remember once we had a discussion. There were different representatives of different faiths, different religions. And the whole topic of discussion was the soul. And I noticed that most representatives, they describe the soul as something like a ghost, something ethereal. That's not the soul. That's the subtle body, astral, the so-called astral body. The soul is different. The soul has its own spiritual form, eternal spiritual form, in relationship with the Supreme Soul, Krishna, Lord Krishna. It's a relationship. Just like any part of the body has a relationship with the entire body. The hand has its own form and its own function. The legs, they have a different form, different relationship to the body, different function. But similarly, each and every soul has a particular spiritual form and function in relationship with the Supreme Soul, Lord Krishna. So this information we find in detail in Srila Prabhupada's books. 7. Srila Prabhupada's books educate us in seeing the spiritual unity of all living beings. So much more important nowadays than ever before. Because of this bodily concept of life, then we think in terms of enemies and friends. That's the whole basis of war. Enemy, you're my enemy. I have to destroy you. But if one clearly understands that in every human being there's a soul, that's, sometimes we hear about it, spiritual brotherhood. It's true. Spiritually, we are all brothers and sisters, spiritual brothers and spiritual sisters. It is actually animal consciousness to think someone is my enemy, I have to kill, I have to destroy. That's animal consciousness. That's what non-human beings are doing. they jump on each other's neck and kill. Human beings are supposed to be a little more intelligent. But they think they're so sophisticated, so technologically advanced. In the medieval ages, they used, rocks to smash each other's head. Now we are so intelligent, so advanced, that we use bombs on our heads. That's our advancement. That's not advancement. Advancement means to understand that we are not this body. We are spirit soul. And then cultivate that relationship. And then it doesn't matter whether you belong to that nation or another nation, this country, that country, it doesn't matter. There's one identity. We are all spirit souls. We are all being part and parcels of Krishna. Now we are being lost in the ocean of this material existence. Then what to do? Let us try to get out and return home, back to Godhead, back to the spiritual world. 7. Srila Prabhupada's books, no, this we had already. 8. Srila Prabhupada's books inform us about our lost eternal relationship with Lord Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Nobody can argue against Lord Krishna being the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He himself makes it very clear in the Bhagavad Gita. Aham savasa prabhavo matasa. There's nothing superior to me, Lord Krishna states. Everything rests upon me, just like pearls are strung on a thread. Krishna is the cause of all causes. Yes, there are many, in that sense, there are many inferior, powerful beings. That's true. But Lord Krishna, he is the origin of everything. Everything emanates from him. That's also described in detail in Srila Prabhupada's books. All the various expansions of Krishna, how they're being called, how they do their manifest, all the Vishnu expansions. Even Lord Shiva, there's sometimes in India some section of the spiritual society, they think that Lord Shiva is the supreme. No, Lord Shiva is not the supreme. Lord Krishna is the supreme. There's a whole story related to that fact. And even Lord Shiva, he is an eternal devotee of Lord Krishna. There's Shastric evidence, so many verses, shlokas related to it. That's more confidential knowledge, deeper knowledge. Narayana is an expansion of Krishna. Vishnu is an expansion of Krishna. Krishna is the cause of all causes. Therefore, the Bhagavad Gita is so important because it clearly describes, Krishna himself describes his position as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So again, this is described in detail in Srila Prabhupada's books. Everyone will benefit. If someone believes in God, fine, no problem. But now you have more information. That's all. Who is this God? What is God? How does he look like? What are his activities? That many people don't know. What is God doing the whole day? Not just hiding behind clouds and waiting to punish someone. He has his own transcendental pastimes, activities. Eternally. How do they look like? Everything is described in detail. Not just basically, no, in detail. Nine, Srila Prabhupada's books contain the highest knowledge of the different relationships the eternal souls can have with Lord Krishna. So every spirit soul has a different relationship with Krishna. And that is being realized in a very, very advanced stage of Krishna consciousness. What is my particular Swarup, Sita Swarup, my eternal spiritual perfection? How does it look like? What is my spiritual form? This human form, it is just a reflection, perverted reflection of the spiritual form. So what is my spiritual form? My relationship with Krishna, my activities and my relationship with Krishna. Everything is being revealed through the Maha Mantra, Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. The Hare Krishna Maha Mantra is the beginning of our spiritual life, and it is also the end of our spiritual life. It is the perfection, the beginning and the perfection, both in one. There was this one story, a beggar. There's a beggar, he had the chance to ask the king to see what the gold looks like. So he went to the king, can you kindly see me what is gold? And the king told the beggar, yes, you have to climb up these stairs, then you open the treasure box, then you see gold. So the beggar, he was very, very happy. He ran up the stairs, opened the treasure box, and he could see shining, brilliant, shining gold. He saw it. But then he also realized these stairs he was climbing up, they were also made of gold. So these stairs in that analogy, it is like the chanting Hare Krishna. These are the stairs. That's the tool for our spiritual advancement. Chant Hare Krishna. Krishna's transcendental name, that transcendental sound vibration. These are the stepping stones of our advancement, chanting Hare Krishna. And then when we reach the perfection, then we begin to realize that this Hare Krishna Maha is already the perfection. Because it is Krishna, non-different from Krishna. In the beginning, it is difficult to understand. Now, how is a sound vibration non-different from a personality? How does that work? Because we don't have experience in this world that an object is non-different from the name of the object. We don't have experience of that. If I'm thirsty, I can chant as much as I like, water, 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 water. This will not quench my thirst. I will remain thirsty. But on a spiritual plane, it is different. The name and the object of the name, there's absolutely no difference. This word absolute has been added so that one clearly understands there's no difference. There's absolutely no difference between Krishna's name and Krishna himself. In case there's some doubt, absolutely no difference. So this is being realized on the perfectional stage of Krishna consciousness. The sound vibration of the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra and Lord Krishna himself, there's absolutely no difference. And then finally we come to the last point, the 10th reason why Srila Prabhupada's books are meant for every person on this planet. Srila Prabhupada's books teach us in how to combine harmoniously our worldly, our material, mundane life and duties with spiritual activities, leading to eternal liberation free from all suffering. This is also very important because many people, they tend to think that if I want to lead a spiritual life, I have to change my lifestyle, like I have to become a monk in a monastery, or I have to live in some ashram, a very, very austere life. They think then I lead a spiritual life. Not necessarily. Like Arjuna, we have the perfect example of Arjuna in the Bhagavad Gita. And he was a Kshatriya, a warrior. And yet, he was a topmost devotee of Krishna. How is that possible? So we can have our profession, but that we can see very nicely also in India, for instance. In India, you have many, many people. They're engaged in so many different activities, the businessmen, very, very active, and at the same time, they're nice devotees of Krishna. They regularly go to the temple, they offer their pranams, their dakshin. At home also they have their murti of Krishna. They worship Krishna at home. It's possible to harmoniously combine both your material activities, your material duties, but at the same time become a nice devotee of Krishna. When you finish your business throughout the day, you return home, sit down peacefully, chant Hare Krishna, read Srila Prabhupada's books, think of Krishna, and then if you take rest, you dream of Krishna even. There's a perfection of Krishna consciousness. You're always thinking of Krishna. And as Krishna explains in the Bhagavad Gita, that's the topmost yogi. Yoginam api sarvesham. The one who always thinks of Krishna, he's the topmost yogi. No one is superior to someone who's always thinking of Krishna. And this is what we learn from Srila Prabhupada's books, to always think of Krishna. And sometimes people are wondering, when you read Prabhupada's books, why does Srila Prabhupada always repeat so often Krishna consciousness, Hare Krishna, 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 Krishna? Because then we think of Krishna. That's the whole point, and that's the perfection. Because if we don't think of Krishna, then what do we think about? Maya. There's only Krishna and Maya. Maya means illusion. That which does not last. It will cease to exist. Finished. That's illusion. Illusion does not mean it doesn't exist at all. It means it is temporary, temporarily manifested. That's the real definition of illusion. It's only temporary. So that's the illusion, to take shelter in something which is of a temporary nature. That's illusion. Reality means you take shelter in something which continues to exist, continues to give you shelter eternally. That's real life. So thank you very much for your patience. I presented my 10 reasons why these Srila Prabhupada's books are meant for everyone without any discrimination. And in case you don't have them already, now this is your chance. Here we have Srila Prabhupada's books. So many books. Take them all, take them home, benefit, and benefit others also. So thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna.
His Holiness Bhakti Vaibhava Swami Maharaj ki jai.
Do you take questions? Do you take questions? Oh.
I think I have to prepare.
Yeah.